You have a roll call, Mr. Manager?
Commissioner Cloutier.
Present.
Commissioner Caterina.
Here.
Commissioner Tyler.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Gordon.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. We're all here. I ask anybody that wishes to join us, please stand and say pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, just open remarks here. Again, I see we have a good contingent in the audience, and I appreciate that. That's what makes a commission meeting worthwhile. There's been many times where we haven't had anybody available at all. So thank you. Get into the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve minutes for CD 25023?
So moved.
Second. Is there any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The second item is approval of the minutes of October 14th, meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Can I have a...
So moved.
Second. Any questions?
No.
Additions, subtractions? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Informational reports. Informational presentation on deed fraud from the Register of Deeds.
Yes, this evening Jessica Spalding, the Register of Deeds, is here to give the commissioners and the public a quick presentation over the software program that we offer the public concerning deed fraud. And she'll talk about the benefits of this and how it works. Jessica?
Thank you for having me. As you've seen on the news lately, deed fraud has become an issue, and it's here in Maine. I know that York County has had a couple of cases of it. I don't know that Cumberland County has had any specific cases, but I just wanted to provide you a little information on a service that we provide. Deed fraud, if anyone's not familiar with it, is a scam where criminals illegally try to transfer someone's property. Typically, we see that they try to favor vacant land where nobody's living, or property where it might be a second home, there's no mortgage on it. Certainly, they're not singling out people's homes, but that's typically what they're looking for, because there's no bank that has to release a lien, usually on a vacant land. So it's a long, lengthy civil process. Once property has been transferred, it does cost the rightful homeowner quite a bit of time and money to go through the court process to get it straightened out. So Maine recently passed deed fraud legislation to establish a commission. That commission is currently working on recommendations for how to handle deed fraud, and that report is due back in December, beginning of December, for their recommendations. One of the registers of deeds is actually on that commission, as well as some of the state senators and House representatives. So they're meeting a couple more times to establish some guidelines on that. How to prevent being a victim of deed fraud. We recommend continually monitoring our online county records. All of our records are available online, so anything that gets recorded today is actually available online tomorrow, so it's updated very quickly. We tell people to check it periodically. Just go in and type in your name and look up and see if there's anything that's been recorded recently. Sign up for the property fraud alert that we offer. We recommend driving by your vacant property, asking a neighbor to keep an eye on the property if you're not in the area. Take action immediately if you didn't receive your water or sewer tax bill. That's actually how a case in York County came to light, because a citizen did not receive his tax bill, and when he called the town tax assessor, they told him that the property had been transferred out of his name. So, and then the FBI does have an Internet Crimes Complaint Center, so if you suspect fraud, they do ask that you report it on the website. And then specifically, Cumberland County offers property fraud alert. It is free to all of the constituents of Cumberland County. You can sign up on our website or come into our office, and we'd be happy to help you sign up for it. What this service does is it alerts you via email if a document has been recorded in your name. So if you do have a very similar name, you will receive a lot of reports, but it's always good to just go on the website after you receive that and make sure, I'm looking right at you, Commissioner Smith, to make sure that it's not your property. Again, this website, this information is right on our website, or you can stop into the registry website, our office, and we'd be happy to help you sign up for that. So, and then, does anyone have any questions?
Well, I just make a remark to the public. I think that it's a great service because it is a problem, as mentioned at the very beginning, and we want to help our citizens stay safe and secure, especially property owners. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
The next item is informational report on FY26 budget versus actual expenses Q1.
Finance Director Teresa Grover is here just to touch upon a few areas of the Q1 reports and answer any questions that the commissioners may have on those reports that you received on Friday.
So overall, it is looking well. Cumberland County ended the first quarter at 23.3% overall. And to be on track, it would be, our target would be 25% or less, so we're on track there. A couple of the few standouts that I noticed was on the IT budget under professional services. He used 135.6% of his budget. This is due to the GIS servers that support dispatch, and it was an upgrade that was required by Motorola. The expense was included in last year's budget, but due to the mandate, the Motorola, the vendor schedule, they couldn't get us in until the beginning of this year. So that was in the budget. It just looks like we went over because of the delay on the vendor schedule. Also in IT, on the computer hardware line, we have an encumbrance for $370,000, so that shows a large percentage over the budget because we didn't have a budgeted line there. This was an error due to a multi-year PO being entered in there, so that error has now been corrected. Exactly why I think a great reason for these reports to look, so we can catch things like that. The garage, the building structures, has used 1,748% of their budget. This is due to an accident that happened a few years ago in the garage, and we're gonna be reimbursed those through the risk pool. So we have to show the expense, but we'll be reimbursed. The finance department, we are over 86.2% on maintenance contracts, and this is expected an overage because we pay all of the annual contracts at the beginning of the year, like Munis and our attendance on demand. So those are all the annual expenses that come out right off the bat, so the percentage will true up as the year continues on and we don't have more expenses into that category. We've got a lot of similar situations like that throughout the county, most of them on a very small amount, so they were insignificant to mention line by line. There's one like the sheriff's office, they have uniforms and the uniform expenses are all allocated at the beginning, but they're not, they are all expected because those are not monthly expenses that go on. So when you front load things, they look a little bit out of whack. But as long as they're expected in the budget and we understand the answer, then I don't call anything important to attention. We are on track with revenues, with a few notables, like the supervision fees are at 32.3%, and again, for on target, it would be 25, so we're trending a little ahead on those. This increase is for a direct result of credit card implementation, so we implemented that last year, and we continue to exceed the budget on that. The garage parking is at 37.4%. We have deeds transfer taxes at 42.6%. And the copies are down at 9.3%. It's a much smaller portion of the budget, but it is a noticeable decline that we're going to pay attention to and adjust the budget ongoing for that in next year's budget. And probate is trending well at 29.8%. So I don't have any concerns with expenses on the general fund, and the revenues are in line at this point.
I've got two questions. Thank you for the detailed report. I really appreciate it. It's nice to really keep a track of what's happening with our budget. The hardware error, the $370,000, we caught that, which is great. Moving forward, we'll make adjustments. What is the implication or the impact of finding an error like that to the budget in terms of?
It wasn't actually expense, was the encumbrance, so a PO was put in, so the money wasn't actually
Okay.
spent out.
Great.
So there was no real budget, but if you notice the line, I didn't want you wondering why
Okay.
0% was allocated with a $370,000 committed expense is what it would look like. And
Okay, perfect. So no harm, no foul, basically.
harm,
just
no
a
foul,
catch.
yes.
Which is great. Thank you for that.
yes, it could throw off the percentages, like his overall
Right.
percentage looked at 54% instead of the 25%. So the percentage could have looked out of whack and it caught my attention and
Yeah.
then we corrected it, but no harm, no foul, yeah.
Great, great, awesome. And the last thing, when you're talking about the garage and then deeds, and then did you say copies is down 3.9%?
So copies is at 9.3%, and so our target is 25%, so they're at 9.3.
Right.
I did speak to Jess, the Register of Deeds, on that, and she wasn't quite sure why that is trending down.
Yeah.
There is a state statute change that goes into effect January 1st of 2026, where we're no longer allowed to charge towns copies. So again, we know that this is gonna be an adjustment, so they may already be going online or doing some other in being proactive with knowing that this change is coming.
Okay.
So we believe that that's what it is. It's a very small overall percentage to the budget, but it is something to be aware of, that we're probably not gonna hit that target for the revenue.
And are there any quarterly, kind of like a seasonal effect in terms of this quarter one with that particular topic of copies? Would quarter two be something different, 3 and 4? Do you see more activity in that particular line that we'd be able to kind of know, oh, this is a real trend and this is where it's going?
For copies specifically,
Right.
no. Compared to what I talked to Jess about, no.
Okay.
We don't understand why that quite happened yet. We're assuming it's anticipating of the statute change.
Yeah.
So if we're not quite understanding what happened now, then we can't project the trend on what might be happening with that, so.
To see quarter two, what happens kind of thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're expecting it to trend down, so that is, we're not expecting it to catch up. So some of like the front load expenses, how we understand that they're gonna stay at the 86% and we're gonna kind of slow down. We don't expect like there's a seasonal thing that's gonna catch this back up,
Okay.
so.
Great. Yeah, so
Yeah.
well aware early and making adjustments, so that's perfect.
Yes,
Great.
and we think that the towns have probably found other ways to get their copies versus coming in and paying us with the change. So nothing we could be proactively
Right.
to do with
A
that.
new reality, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you, Teresa, appreciate it. That's all I have, thank you.
Anybody else? Jim?
Thanks, Teresa. Very detailed report. We appreciate getting it in advance in addition to hearing your explanations tonight. I'm just wondering whether you see in the entire picture any area where you would project either a substantial savings or a substantial over expenditure that, in comparison to the total budget.
Nothing that I see as of this point tonight. Things can always change in the future, but
So do not change that whatsoever. That's the way to go. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else? No? Teresa, you said something about garage, what was it, revenue?
We're gonna be reimbursed because there was an accident. There's a risk pool, right?
Yes, so the expenses are up because we had an accident a couple of years ago and it's taken a while to be reimbursed. But the garage revenues are up a little bit. Yes, they're at like 37% and they would be, on par would be 25%. So we're just up a little bit ahead of expected projections.
Have we sold the spaces that we normally were using for employees?
I don't believe that would be reflected in this budget this time frame. Usually the summer is up a little bit more because of the seasonal parking where we can do a little bit more on the weekends because of the ferries and they park there for the islands and stuff. And I don't think that we sold those yet because of some of the repairs going on with the garage and the side parking.
We have the side parking lot closed right now because of the air handling work that's being done on the state side of the building. So all of that parking is not usable right now.
Good, thank you.
Last year, we did increase the rates, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So increase in rates always, it's gonna show off. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. Budget. Jim, informal presentation, mobility, access, transportation, and security phase.
Yes, the commissioners this evening have an acceptance of $700,000 grant on the consent calendar. However, we'd like to provide a backdrop presentation on the excellent program that's being worked on by the Public Health Department on this grant work. And so I'd like to invite Alexis Guy and Zoe Miller up to the podium to talk a little bit about the Maddie grant and what phase 1 looked like and what phase 2 is going to look like as they move forward in spending the $700,000 over the next 2 years.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alexis Guy. I'm the Healthy Eating Active Living Team Lead at Cumberland County Public Health.
And I'm Zoe Miller, and I'm the Executive Director of the Moving Maine Network.
And as Jim mentioned, we're here to share with you about the Mobility, Access, and Transportation Insecurity, or MADI grant project. So this is a project that has 2 phases. The first phase wrapped up at the end of July. We were one of 8 teams from across the country to get funding for that first phase, which was planning funding from the Federal Transit Administration through the University of Minnesota to build the plan for a strategy that addresses transportation insecurity in our region. And then we were one of 4 teams to get the demonstration funding, which was funding to do the plan, as well as to do the research and evaluation to show how it works. So this was a project that emerged out of a lot of past work. As a public health department, the Community Health Improvement Plan really guided where our work went, and transportation emerged as a top priority. Zoe's work with the Greater Portland Council of Governments really looked at the ways that we need more coordination and navigation support across the region. So coming into this, knowing that a lot of different organizations are kind of here and there have found ways to cover fare where it's needed for people, our goal was to really knit that together into a system that works across all of the transit agencies in our region. And then also thinking about the navigation support that needs to be there for people to actually use a pass if it's available to them. So whether that's education, considering language access for multilingual communities, physical access, really making sure that people who need this resource are able to use it. This was our region of focus. We're calling it Southern Maine region broadly. Our 4 transit agencies that we are considering for this project are Greater Portland Metro, which, as you know, merged with South Portland Bus Service in the last year, RTP Lake Region Explorer, York County Community Action Corporation, and Biddeford Saco Old Orchard Beach Transit. So phase 1 was really the preparation for doing the research that will happen in phase 2. It involved a process of a lot of community engagement. We partnered with the Greater Portland Council of Governments to get a survey out to people who are riders of our current transit system. So we did a survey and got, I think, almost 300 responses. We also hosted listening sessions in partnership with different community organizations that are serving people who have transportation needs, knowing that a survey is not going to be an effective way to reach everyone. So we were able to host conversations with unhoused teens, new immigrants, people with disabilities, people living in rural parts of the county, and really hear from community what something like this would need to look like in order for it to be effective. We also worked with the Shared Use Mobility Center to do a scan of what is happening similarly in other parts of the country. And we did an extensive series of conversations with different partners in our region to really make sure we had the full picture of what is being done to help people who have transportation barriers, both in terms of fare and in terms of support and education. So that was phase one, and I think I'm passing it to Zoe to talk about what the plan actually looks like.
Well, we're really thrilled to have been selected for phase two, so that's $700,000 that's flowing into our region, which includes York and Cumberland County, and a big portion of that will go to provide fare, both reduced and free fare to folks who have the need. So the project we designed is going to have two parts to it. So one is a new income eligible fare program with 2 tiers. Folks who use the bus currently may know that while there are a lot of different discounts, there is not one based on your income. So that's been a major issue, and we've had a kind of a patchwork of community organizations that have filled the gap. And what we're looking to do is to continue to partner with all those community organizations, but make it so it's much more accessible for people who need it, and they're basically getting more, that organizations are able to help more people with the funds that they put in. So there'll be a 50% off fare option. We've been working with the transit providers in the region who are interested in partnering with us to make this happen. There'll also be a free fare option, because for many folks, we heard that coming up with $2 per trip is really, adds up over the course of a week, and folks simply don't have the money. So the other part of it that Alexis talked about a little bit is that, it's not always enough to just throw a program out into the world. We hear that a lot of people don't necessarily understand how to use the electronic fare cards, so they aren't accessing the benefits of the discount that they can get through having it. They may not know how to use the bus. And so we'll be working with community organizations who are, already out there in the community, know people, and are best situated to help. So in year one, we plan to establish hubs. We have numerous organizations that are excited to partner. And again, they're already working with folks, so this brings them more resources to do that well. We'll be launching the income eligible fare program with a pilot group, which will include approximately 300 people who access the free fare and up to 3,200 people who will access reduced fare. Getting into year two, we'll also be working on launching a cooperative funding structure. And this will be a way to fund this sustainably over time, so that, we anticipate both working with the community organizations that have already been helping people, but also tapping into philanthropies that increasingly are prioritizing transportation access, as well as our anchor institutions and large employers. And so that over time, we'll be able to expand the reduced fare to more riders. And as Alexis mentioned, this is a research project, so we have an opportunity to, while we're helping people, also find out how having better transportation access is improving their lives. How, is it reducing stress? Is it resulting in better ability to get to medical care, social engagements, and so on? We think that what we've put together is a relatively low-cost way to help people, so that gives it a chance of being more sustainable over time. And so people's transportation habits will be studied before and after they get access to the free fare. The free fare portion is the one that we'll be studying primarily, but we'll also be paying attention and asking questions to all the organizations that partner with us, really with the goal of helping our region keep it going after the grant period is complete. And that's it for our presentation.
Do you have any questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very interesting to hear about this. So, I should never assume, but I'm gonna, that people would be using the current buses, the current bus routes. Okay. And are these people, do you know, which you may not know yet, who already use the bus but can't afford it? So they aren't using it as much as they should, or that's what you're trying to find out, or?
I would say some of all of the above. So
Okay.
there are people who we know who are using it, who are maybe paying more than they should be based on their income. There are people who would be accessing it if they had support to kind of get there. And yeah, people who maybe don't know that it's an option, and it should be.
Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
would just add that in, the research we did of programs around the country, some of what folks have found is that people take more trips. They're able to do more because, you hear people are limiting, they're able to get out of the house for the things they absolutely need to do. So then they're not getting to do the social things or the fun things. And so having a program like this will will reduce isolation.
Okay, great, thanks.
James?
I'm wondering, is any part of your study going to evaluate the adequacy of the availability of public transit?
I think for this project, I think we'll certainly hear from people, their opinions on that. We did in phase one that people would, like longer hours, they would like more frequent service. Often people find that it's not frequent enough to be competitive with, using your own car. People will, could be saving, $12,000 to $15,000 a year by not having a car, and yet because they, the current frequency isn't enough, they're prioritizing having a car.
Do you happen to know whether you have access to any comparative information for other metropolitan areas similar to Greater Portland or Southern Maine that would evaluate what the frequency and exposure would be for those kinds of services?
That's not part of what we were looking at with this project, but absolutely, yes, I'm sure. I know there are some folks at Greater Portland Council of Governments who could share a lot of that data with you from the recent studies that have happened comparing how this region looks to other parts of the country.
Thanks.
Go ahead, Betty.
Oh, go ahead. You got your hand up.
You hit upon frequency. Have you got anything that's going on with increasing the convenience of doing intermodal? In other words, you take the bus to get to the train.
I think there's a lot of work happening to make transit better in the region. This project is a bit more focused on helping people afford it. I think as we get more people riding, and that, will very likely be one of the outcomes of this project, is more people are using transit, more people are using it more often. That's good for us overall as a region because a lot of the federal funding is based on ridership. So, I spent a lot of time thinking about how do we get more and better transit. So there certainly could come back and do a presentation about that sometime.
Because in the summertime, or I guess even in the wintertime, 302 is just abysmal. The traffic for going to work and pull in and out is unbelievable. The other thing is Interstate 95 going from Portland to Brunswick. I mean, it's a parking lot, and it would seem that
Have
competition.
you ever traveled in from the west on like Route 22 or 25?
Yeah, down the Gorham side,
Yeah.
Front of my house.
It was rough.
Anyway, that's not what they.
No, but
That's for phase 2, right?
Phase three, right.
okay. Any other, go ahead, Ben.
I love all the interest in transportation, this is great, and it's awesome for us doing the work. Specifically, you mentioned in, I think, year 2, we'd be doing the launching, the free fare program for those who, incomes level demand this or require this. When is that is year 2 mean 2026 or 27? Just so I understand kind of like what we're looking at.
So we are, phase 2 is starting now. We have some kind of prep time before we would be looking at actually launching the program. That would be kind of early spring is what we're planning.
Potentially spring of 2006. Okay, great. Just try to keep my eye on the ball. It's nice to kind of, I know things move around, but in general, to think about what that might look like. And I know you're not doing infrastructure, but I think that shelters are important too. I know when South Portland moved to coordinate with Metro, I was hoping we'd get more bus shelters in the city of South Portland, because I feel like in Maine, the weather's not always the greatest, so waiting for that bus with no shelter is a real, done a few times in snowstorms, but, you do what you do because you're a Mainer. But I know that's your thing. I want to also just say thank you. The work seems like it's really valuable. I love that the Department of Public Health is really working on this, because transportation clearly can be a barrier for many people. I'll remember back in the financial crisis in 2007 and 8, someone did a study, a nationwide study that said towns and cities rebounded from the financial crisis when they had better transportation within their city or town. People got to those jobs to try to interview and get a job again. And it was interesting that I had no idea that that would be an impact for a community or neighborhood or state or city, that if they had better transportation, they were rebounding faster from the financial crisis, which I thought was amazing and fascinating. Not that I want a financial crisis, but I'll put it out there. Lastly, thank you for the work, and I'll say go for Golden Gophers, right, Minnesota. Thank them too for the work. I used to live in Michigan, so I have a little, affinity to that part of the country. But yay for the University of Minnesota to make this happen with you all, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Is that it? Nobody has any other questions? Thank you very
No,
much.
thanks.
As you can see, there is a great interest in it, and you're putting forth the needs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item that we have is our public comment. And before we start, I'll just want to remind people of what our public participation policy requires. The specific public comment period is designated for an agenda item. No public comment related to those agenda items is allowed in the general public comment period. So for a general public comment, there is 3 minutes allowed per individual, and the comment period lasts for 1 hour. So with that, I'll open up the public comment period.
Stephen Scharf of Brackett Street, Portland. You're a little confusing. I think you're referring to your public comment on things not already on your agenda. Right. And I think that's what you meant to say, and that's the way they say it at the Portland City Council, so it's clear. That's stuff not on tonight's agenda, it's on tonight's agenda. You can't comment during here, as Mr. Cloutier said during a council meeting years ago. Budget night, everything was on the agenda, so couldn't comment on anything. But I just rise to speak to one thing that beautiful new space you have here, but there are no microphones. It is not a large room, but I can tell you, Mr. Gordon and Mr. Tyler, both good friends of mine, that you're not loud voices, and you need to invest in some microphones for this room so that the recording is properly being heard. I've not yet listened to one of your meetings, so I don't know if it's an issue, but just hearing in the room, it's been difficult even in the front 2 rows to hear you. So thank you, and look forward to the exciting meeting.
Thanks, Steve.
Good evening, my name is Bob Mittel. I live in Portland. I have lived in Cumberland County and various parts of it, including Pownell, for almost 60 years. I was born and raised in San Francisco, left in 1966, went in the Army for 2 years, and came here. I'm an almost retired lawyer on a medical leave because I have pancreatic cancer. I'm here to talk about the ICE Gestapo.
That's on the agenda. It's one of the items that's on the agenda for us to talk about. So you can't address that issue here.
Hold your thought, it will come up.
Not at this time. When it comes up on the agenda.
Okay?
You'll be number one.
Very
I know, it
sorry.
was confusing.
It's particularly bad because I represented you folks 30 years ago for maybe a year. And
I will be very glad to hear from you again when it comes up on the agenda.
Thank you.
I am a little distressed to hear that you're still not actually retired, because I was hoping to do that myself. And it
Nice.
doesn't seem to be as easy as you would think it would be.
If I weren't ill, I would still be doing it. It's a lot of fun. At least I think it is.
Next.
I want to speak against ICE. I'm confused about the,
It's on the agenda, when it's on the.
when is that coming up?
Like four things beforehand, we have consent, but maybe 4 or 5 things.
Does anybody wish to address the commission on issues other than ICE? Seeing none, then I will close the public.
I have something. Hi there, thank you. My name is Terry McAnulty. I'm a survivor of violent crime and trafficking out of the state of Maine. I'm here on behalf, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This is very important. My case does involve Cumberland County as well as York. My offender is a violent repeat convicted offender. I have a 30-year protection order. I live at a protected address, and I have to run for my life and move all the time. I cannot do it anymore. I will not do it anymore. Justice for my dog Etta that he harmed. He's harmed many women, and Cumberland County is just as much as involved right now. And the DA's office of York County asked to hold a meeting with Cumberland County DA's office and state police and Cumberland County Sheriff's Department. And Cumberland County Sheriff's Department and the DA's office of Cumberland County did not meet with York County. Offenders of his type, of my offenders just like him, count on no communication. He said he's originally from Massachusetts. He's resided in Maine for decades. This is originally out of Old Orchard. He's now followed me to the middle of the woods. My address, my protected address is literally at the end of the driveway is Cumberland County. I have to call for help all the time. There's many survivors out there, and I'm just speaking on the behalf of all survivors. Everybody has to communicate, everybody's accountable, and we really need to do better for victims. And just a slogan that my offender says, he remains in Maine because authorities in Maine are like clubbing seals. He gets what he wants, and I am begging for someone to prove his theory wrong. I grew up with law enforcement in Maine, in Cumberland County in particular, career police chief of Falmouth. I had all the faith in Cumberland County, and when I've called for help, I will just document it. Again, I have a 30-year protection order. That should not be happening. So I appreciate everybody listening. I'm speaking on behalf of all survivors. I'm just one. And protection orders and protected addresses really need to be taken seriously. we don't sleep safe and sound at night, so everybody needs to join together and make sure everybody sleeps safe and sound at night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think we got your name, and I don't think we want it, actually. But the sheriff is here, and he has heard what you've had to say. You should probably make it your business to be back in touch with him in a few days after he has a chance to look into the situation. I happen to know that he has no tolerance for exactly what you just described.
I appreciate it, and that's why I'm here, because I've been trying to get a hold of you, and it's been very hard to maneuver the process. I've actually showed up at the sheriff's department, and I just learned with York County, the best thing to do is just show up and have your voice be heard. I am part of laws in Maine already. I'm working towards new laws, and it's just everybody has to work together, because everybody should be safe and sound.
There's a couple of gentlemen back there with this uniform. Give them your name and telephone number, and I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Sorry. Is there anybody else that wishes to address the commission on issues other than ICE? Seeing that, I'll close the public session. I need a motion to open up and consider the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, before we do that, could we change, I'm looking for the number, the appointment of the Finance Committee, which I believe is 25-107. I'd just like to address that briefly when it comes up, and so perhaps we can take it off the consent agenda.
Okay. So move that to new business.
Please. And I would move passage of the consent agenda as amended.
So move, second.
Any other comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is passed with item 25-107 moved to new business. New business, item 25-107.
I move passage of 25-107, and we're going to address it in a moment.
Second.
Mr. Chair, I served 10 years on the Portland City Council, and during that time, one councilor agreed to serve on the County Finance Committee. She did it for 2 years and not thereafter. Since that time, as far as I know, there has never been a Portland City Councilor on the Finance Committee for the county, and that is a span of something like 23 or 24 years. This year, however, 3 members of the council have agreed to serve, and I'm pleased to move that they be appointed to the Finance Committee. Those councilors being Kate Sykes, who will be serving as one of the appointed members of District 4, which includes the portions of what is known as Council District 5 in Portland, North Daring, basically, as well from the Munjoy Hill area, District 1, Sarah McNewitz. I hope I didn't say that too terribly. And from District, and from my own neighborhood in the Rosemont area, Councilor Ben Grant. So I would move the appointment of those 3 individuals to the board.
Any discussion? Seeing
Are you
none?
going to take comment on it?
That's right, we could, because it's moved off the consent agenda. I apologize for that.
Stephen Sharp, again, of Brackett Street, Portland. I rise to object to Councilor Sykes being placed in District 4, as she does not live in District 4 of the County Commission. She lives in Precinct 5-2. Wait a second. She lives in 5-1. That's in Precinct 5-2. So I object to her being appointed to that position. I do want to point out that precincts in Portland are a function of convenience, and it should never have been used as a designation for your commissioner district lines. And at any time, the city council of Portland can change a precinct district and change, where I believe it's Ms. Smith, actually represents. So I'm not sure why it was used as a reference point, but it was. So I just wanted to point out that Mrs. Sykes, I guess, does not actually live in the district you're trying to appoint her to. Thank you.
Go ahead.
When comment is over, I can explain that.
I was just going to say is that Portland for us is a district, and with part of it carved out to other commissioners. So if she lives in the area, it's not carved out, it fits. You don't have to give the designation.
Glad to see the general public available to testify, which is how we used to converse at the city council. Councilor Sykes is actually an at-large commissioner, so she does in fact represent the affected district. As far as I know, I believe that's true. So that's the basis for the nomination. And that's what I understand.
Is there any more public comment before we have?
Any more public comment? Seeing none?
Yeah,
Commissioner?
just a comment here, just to make sure we're all, kind of making sure we're in the right here. Potentially, if we're not sure about this district and precinct and how it rolls, maybe what I would suggest is potentially striking Kate for this evening and going with Sarah and Ben moving forward for the Finance Committee. And as we do further research, to make sure we have the right precincts, people living in the right places, then we can come forward. I don't think, I'll ask the county manager, if that would make a crimp in the Finance Committee rotation or schedule. If that would hold us up, I'd like to know that.
No, because the November meeting will be before the December 6th Finance Committee meeting.
Perfect. Okay, so we have a little bit of time.
I don't object to that, but I still have my phone, and I was gonna check to see whether she is an at-large counselor, which is what I believe she is. It's also true that the orphan voting district, which 5152, that has been switched in the last census, so.
3 years.
What used to be, I think it used to be
5-1.
and now it's 5-2. Let me, she should either be, clearly, either the district counselor from District 5 or or an at-large counselor. And it may be that she's the District 5 counselor, which would include the district, the precinct that we're talking about.
Precinct 5-2.
Well, let me just see if I can find that.
But does that include the area that you're commissioner of?
It is actually.
I have precinct 5-2.
Precinct 4, or Commission District 4, which is of course Commissioner 5, does not have to live in what is denominated District 4 of the commission. They just have to represent that district.
So.
Favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion?